Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers showcase video. In today's video, we're looking at another small block fighter, and this one is another one in the GC series called the GC Fighter MK3, which is this lovely thing right here. So this is a small, nimble fighter that features one hell of a lot of gatling guns to blast your enemies with, as well as a singular rocket launcher just in case it's not enough. It features all three types of thrusters, so it's good for both planet and space, and also has an easy access connector on top to easily dock this thing up. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, there it is along with the other ones I have showcased on this channel. So there is the experimental fighter, there is the medium cargo transport, and here is the fighter MK3. So this thing is 603 small blocks using none of the DLC packs and no mods. However, at the very top of the page you can see that it mentions the recolor mod and the red tracer mod, which was used for these screenshots on the Steam Workshop page. So we'll give this thing a thumbs up, move all the way around to the very front, we'll have a quick look around the outside, then we'll fly around for a bit and see what we can do with it. So at the very front here, this is what we get. Like a lot of ships, we've got ourselves a camera sitting behind a bulletproof piece of glass to make sure it's nice and protected from any kind of stray shots. Just below that is our lone rocket launcher to blast your enemies with, and all of this has been surrounded by these reddish pinky blocks that go around the main body of the ship. On the left and right hand side, what we can see is a bunch of gatling guns, which is our main form of firepower to fight any kind of pesky pirates or anything else you discover in your journeys. As we move around the side, we'll see our fighter cockpit to drive this thing around, as well as some nice use of our letter block spelling out GC along the side there. We can also see our ion, atmospheric and hydrogen thrusters all together on our wing. If we continue around the side, and I'll put my light on for the moment, we can see our lovely spotlight on the side there to light up the darkness and make sure you can capture anyone who's trying to hide in a dark asteroid. Yes, we can see a couple of hydrogen tanks sticking out the side there. There is a cargo container for easy access to our gatling guns to add some more ammunition to them. And as we were to move along the side here, even more ion thrusters, even more hydrogen thrusters, a couple of batteries on the side there with another atmospheric and a blinking red light. On the opposite side, as per usual, there'll be a blinking green light to signify the left and right hand side of the vehicle as it approaches a station. If we were to continue along towards the back there, a couple more hydrogen thrusters, a easy access for our reactors to make sure this thing's got plenty of fuel inside it. Then towards the very back there, we've got some fantastic use of our armored plates, and this is what's going to push us along. So we've got one large hydrogen thruster, 4 small hydrogen thrusters, 2 small ions, and we can just about see 2 small atmospherics just sitting right over there. So that should give us some nice speed, and we'll see that a bit later on where we do our thruster test. But if we were to come all the way up and above this thing, we'll see some more use of our armoured plates, as well as some grey and red steel blocks. If we were to look down and continue along towards the front there, there's black armoured plates on the side there, there's an antenna, a couple more hydrogen and ion thrusters, a magnetic plate to help dock this thing up from the top, which is a very odd but also extremely useful thing to have on a ship, because you never quite know how you're going to dock up your ship to a station, because you don't know the interior setup unless of course you've been there before or built it yourself. Anyway, we can see a connector there to dock this thing up. We can also see another light towards the front there with a beacon right in front of it, and there is our fighter cockpit at the very front. If you were to come all the way down and underneath this thing, past our rocket launcher, there is a landing gear to dock this thing up. There's the bottom of some of our gatling guns, and we can see another red light if I turn off my light like so, and we can see another hydrogen tank right there with 2 hydrogen thrusters right next to it, and another connector with a camera just below that to make sure we can dock this thing up without damaging our ship or whatever we're trying to connect up to. And then towards the back there, even more hydrogen tanks. And we can see just right over here a ore detector, so we can use this to go and scout asteroids, scout out a planet to find any precious resources and report it back to base. And there we go with the outside. It's another one of these very small, very compact ship that features pretty much everything you need to go out and explore in survival mode. We've got plenty of firepower on here, plenty of thrusters, so we are good for both planets and space. And we've got the nice additions of having some spotlights, having some ore detectors on here, so we can be very useful in an emergency where you're looking for just that one little resource to say build a jump drive or whatever you're trying to build. But what we can do now is grab hold of my character, bring up the HUD, so we've got 3 tabs to go through. So number 1 on the first tab is for our gatling guns to fire them all together. And as you can see there is one hell of a lot of Gatling guns on here, so we'll do a nice lot of damage to whatever we hit. On the opposite hand, we got our lone rocket launcher at the front there, which is, well, it's quite sad compared to the Gatling guns, but sometimes one is all you need. Anyway, number 3 is for our camera, which sits right above our rocket launcher, so we can easily aim our rockets, and of course our Gatling guns. Number 4 is for our parachute hatch to manually open and close. Number 5 is to turn on and off our ion and atmospheric thrusters altogether, so if we don't need them and just want to rely on our hydrogen thrusters, we can do so. So there we go, they're now all turned off, and all we can see is our hydrogen thrusters. Number 6 is for all of our hydrogen thrusters, so now we switched off absolutely everything on this ship, and if we want to, we press number 5 again, and just have our ion thrusters turned on. We're just turning them back on for the moment. Number 7 is for our landing gear to lock and unlock it. Number 8 is for our camera right below our ship to help dock up that connector on the bottom. If we were to come across onto tab number 2, we then got our lights on and off around the ship. Number 2 is for our spotlights at the very front, on and off. Number 3 for our antenna. Number 4 for our beacon. Number 5 is for our ore detector at the back there. Number 6 is to stockpile our hydrogen tanks on and off. 7 for our batteries to auto or recharge. Number 8 and number 9 is for our docking pad at the top there, where we can lock and unlock that magnetic plate, and of course the connector right next to it. Onto tab number 3, we once again got some controls for our thrusters. Number 1 is for manual control over our atmospheric thrusters on and off. Number 2 is for manual control over our ion thrusters on and off. So there we go, if that first tab wasn't good enough, you now got a manual toggle for both of them. Number 4 is an interesting button, because this is a hydrogen saving mode. So if we press this off, it's going to switch off any kind of unnecessary hydrogen thrusters to limit the amount of hydrogen we're actually using while flying around. This is very good because this ship is very heavy on the hydrogen usage. It can burn through its entire stockpile of hydrogen in just about 2 minutes if nothing else is turned on, so you may want to limit your usage and well try to extend your flying time while on the planet. Number 5 and number 6 are simple controls over our thrusters to switch them all off and switch them all back on. So there we go with that. Yes, what we can do now with that all done and out of the way is a very quick thruster test, and this is where you see the pretty balanced thruster distribution around the ship. But what I'm not going to do is just do each of the individual modes, I'm just going to have them all switched on, and we'll go with this. So moving forwards, what we're going to get is roughly 7 seconds to reach maximum speed, which is very nice for a small fighter. Coming to a stop is going to take roughly 15 seconds, so it's not too bad at the end of the day, and you can always do a 180 and boost forwards to slow yourself down a lot quicker. Moving left and right is exactly the same as moving back, where we have 15 seconds either way. Moving up, however, is the fastest thing on the ship, taking roughly 4 seconds to reach maximum speed, and moving down, just like left and right and moving backwards, is 15 seconds. So there we go, we've got a fantastic thruster distribution around this ship, where, as per usual, we've got a faster speed moving up because of the additional thrusters underneath to help out on the planet. And if I was to wiggle my mouse around, this is what we get. We are extremely floaty, but it does have a small hint of weight to this, so it's not too bad. It's not completely like flying a paper aeroplane, but as per usual, you can always turn down the gyroscopes if it's not up to your standards. But that is basically it for what the GC Fighter V3 has to offer. So one final thing to do with this is of course find an asteroid and we'll slam it straight into that, and that'll be the end of this little ship. But I'm not too sure if there's any around here. So what I'm going to do is very quickly have a little looky around for any kind of pirates. And it looks like this could be an interesting one to go and fight. I'm pretty sure this wreckage over here has got some kind of gun on it, or at least some kind of guns, not a singular one. So just paste it over to here, and we'll turn around wherever that's gone, right over there. We now view all the way across. There might be some guns on here, there might not be. But anyway, we're just going to slam ourselves straight into it, and that will be that. So as per usual, there'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. I highly recommend you do because it is a fantastic little fighter. Oh god, here comes a gun. Oh, they have a rocket launcher on here. I didn't think they had that. That's not allowed. Oh, and we just missed it. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, there'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. I highly recommend you do. And I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.